How's it going? It's been a couple years, hasn't it? So yeah, I know I haven't uploaded much in quite a long time actually, but I wanted to do something a little bit special today. It's Father's Day weekend, kinda. They had a tournament here last week, so I couldn't come shooting, but I wanted to come out today, and I wanted to throw a lot of lead downrange, and we're gonna have a bunch of fun. I'm gonna show you everything I got, explain why I got it, and maybe why people should think about having it, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Since we are out at the shooting range today, we are definitely going to crank things up a little bit by having some buckshot. All right, let's get it started. I got blood raz. I know there's a bunch of other flavors, but I like this one. Let's get it! All right, and a quick disclaimer here: never forget your ear pro. Depending on what kind of person you are, I have to wear glasses. I have prescriptions. A lot of people do like the over the ears. I got some Axles. I got some Walkers. Those are great. But because I wear glasses and I want more comfort and everything, I definitely do the Axle GS3 Extremes. So 100% recommend these. They're Bluetooth, so you can actually listen to music while you're shooting too. So yeah, I mean, they're pretty great. Just make sure you use the foam tips. 100%. Axle, you want a sponsor? Let me know. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with my former everyday carry gun. We're going to start small and work our way up. We're going to have a little bit of a surprise at the end, so make sure you watch till the end. But starting off, my former everyday carry, my P365 X Macro with a Defender CCW on there. Why would people want this gun? I mean, it's got huge magazine capacity. It is a very low profile carry gun. I mean, I'm 6'4", 260, so I typically carry something a little bit bigger now that I've kind of upgraded. But for most people, and especially people with like smaller hands or something like that, the X Macro is a great sweet spot for having that magazine capacity, the sub 4-inch barrel, as well as, good, reliable Sig Sauer craftsmanship, because I was a Sig guy for quite a long time. I've kind of transitioned to like Smith & Wesson at this point. But if you're just getting into it, the Sig Macro is definitely something worth looking at, and I 100% recommend it if you're looking for a good everyday carry that also has a manual safety. I have kids, so I need to make sure that all my guns do have external safeties, especially if anything that, prying eyes might get into or something like that. So if you want the extra protection and extra safety, X Macro is a good thing to do. Let's shoot it. Safety on, obviously. And safety. All right, and then hold on.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, use the iron sights if the red dot's not lined up. There you go, safety mag. So how's that first time? 9 mil?
That was badass. When I first time pulled it, there was a little kickback, but hey, it felt good.
All right, moving on to my new conceal carry handgun. This is my Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 full-size frame, a 9mm with manual thumb safety. Had to get that ordered from Shields because they didn't have the manual thumb, like I said. I don't like carrying anything that doesn't have a manual thumb. I mean, I'm pretty quick with it, so yeah. Nothing in here right now, obviously. But I highly recommend this for larger people that have bigger frames, or if you carry during the winter or something like that, and you can actually hide a 4¼ inch barrel full-size gun behind like a hoodie or whatever you might have. I'm gonna throw a lot of rounds at this. or through this, I guess I should say, and then see how it feels. And I'll give you another little honest review since I only have a couple of clips through it so far. And it's pretty nice now. The rain has stopped, so here we go. All right, here we go. Already peppered that target pretty good. Let's move on to the next one here. Love that. All right, another one of these and then we'll freshen up the targets. We're good. Now let's empty off. Cool. Safety on, mag out. Safety first, right? All right, so that's basically my conceal options that I have. So if I had to break it down, if you're a person looking for a normal everyday carry, the X Macro might be more your style. Like I said, I have a CCW Vortex red dot on there. It helped for target acquisition. If you are looking for something that can be easily, concealed on your person, this is the route to go. However, if you are a bigger guy like me, and maybe you just like to wear baggy hoodies or whatever it might be, if you want to go towards the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, this is the full-size option. There's a compact that has just a slightly shorter barrel. I would actually recommend this just because I do have the optics ready option. And I do believe it is the better, we'll say overall, especially if you're looking for like accuracy, because it's a 4 1/4 inch barrel, but also manual safety. I highly recommend always carrying with the manual safety because an accidental discharge is a great way to have an accident. That's why it's in the name. So we're gonna move on to something that's a little bit more fun now. Also 9mm, but we'll get to it. All right, now we're moving on to something a little bit more fun. This is probably my most fun handgun that I do have. This is my Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 all-metal series collaboration with Tallow with the gold accents. This is an all-metal frame with a Defender ST Vortex sight on it. It is very fun to shoot, has a ported compensator at the end of the barrel, as you can see. Has 21 round magazines, and I thoroughly enjoy this. This is, if I ever got into competitive shooting, this might be something I would use, and I've actually kind of thought about that. So yeah, this is basically just a pure fun gun, and it doesn't really have any purpose other than just blasting holes through targets. So let's do a few of those, huh? All right, a little windy, but hopefully you can hear me. Just a little close-up of this. It does have the double-stage trigger. This does not have a manual safety. However, you cannot pull the trigger unless the plunger is pushed in. There's probably a more technical name for that. I just call it the plunger. So yeah, the gold accents, this is the Tallow version with the ported compensator. Essentially, this should have no muzzle flip. So bap, 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 you should be able to get target acquisition and keep on target pretty simply. Yep, we got clay shooters over there now. All right, let's get started. All right, we got 221 round mags. Let's have some fun. We'll go on the fresh target here. Remember, no manual safety, so once you put the mag in, it is good to go. Okay, mags in. Always have trigger discipline, please. Up my sight a little bit. Can't see that red dot. There we go. That's better. Holy wind. All right, magazine out, no safety. So we rack it a few times just to make sure. Always recommend just racking the crap out of it after that. Geez, stay there. Chambered, safety, trigger discipline. Well, I need to zero in this dust a little bit. There you go. Let it rain! All right, so review on the all-metal MP 2.0.
Oh my God! What a toy! What a weapon to have! I need to own one of these because this is where it's at.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Limited edition, go get it now. All right, so as you can see from those videos, this is just a fun one to have. Like, there is literally no purpose for any civilian, like, reason to have this, but it is really fun. Like I said, they do offer a gold and copper version. The copper version is polymer framed. This is all metal. That's why I got this version. And I just noticed my compensator is a little bit crooked. So I'm definitely gonna have to take it to the tool bench and straighten that out for whatever reason happened there. But I really like this gun. This is very fun, and I highly recommend it if you want to get into competition shooting, like I am about to probably start doing. This is definitely something that should be on your radar. It is a little bit more on the expensive end for a comp shooter. However, it is definitely not like a $5,000 TTI, Pit Viper or something like that. So if you just want something that's good and budget friendly, but also metal, because you always pay more for metal, go ahead and get the Tallow Smith & Wesson collab. All right, so that was the fun gun, the Tallow Smith & Wesson collab. What we're going to do now is my personal home defense nightstand handgun. This is a 45 ACP, specifically an HK 45 ACP. I chose this weapon because it has a handful of different safety features, like when the hammer's back, you can still put it forward without actually shooting. It is a double action, single action. So if I were to pull the trigger, that is a 12-pound trigger. My kids aren't pulling that. People who don't know how to shoot a 45 are not pulling that. However, when the hammer is cocked and I am ready to shoot, 3-pound trigger. So I highly recommend looking at HK 45s. They are extremely reliable. Everything I buy, especially for a defense purpose, has been rated as most reliable. It is rated for overall safety precautions. Like I said, I value safety and reliability over everything. So that's why I got this. And so let's shoot it and have some more fun. All right, HK 45 ACP, chambered. Hammer down, so it's a 3-pound pull. Here we go. There you go. A little higher. There you go. That was center. Another one. Nice. You're getting it. Ooh. Magazine safety. You got some there that time. You got some there that time. Like 45s you're calling?
All right.
Oh, that's center mass right there. Oh, it's 2 center mass. Now he's got it. Now the kid's got it. A little low, you're flinching again. There it is. Here we go, last mag. There you go. A little low. There you go. That's center. All right, magazine safety, and tell me what you think.
Well, amazing. That's what I think. Absolutely amazing. This is a what again?
HK 45.
Oh my God. Very good. Very good weapon. I like it.
All right.
Going back.
So after shooting the 45 ACP, I want Shane to go back and feel the Smith & Wesson 9mm again. So we'll see how this goes. Remember, no safety. Chamber it, you're good to go.
About to cock this back?
Yeah, you got chamber it. There you go. Now you're good to go. Yeah, a little high to the right. Yep. There you go. There's only 7. Okay, so after the 45 ACP, coming back to the 9mm.
Much difference. Way lighter.
Yeah.
Way easier to maneuver. I'm not gonna lie though, I like the 45.
Yeah. Lord's caliber. All right, so as you can see from that first video, I love how the 45 ACP shoots. It is a bigger, slower bullet, which is why I technically prefer it for my nightstand weapon, because it doesn't overpenetrate. It doesn't have the chance of, going through a lot of things like a 9mm, because 9mm are faster, they're smaller, like lasers, whereas these guys are sledgehammers. The hollow points I have at home can expand up to almost an inch, so if you get hit with a 45 ACP hollow point, yeah, not gonna have a fun day. But I highly recommend for, like I said, personal home defense, like in the nightstand kind of weapons, ideally under a biometric safe that only you can open, or an adult in the house. Get a 45 ACP if possible. I personally always recommend HKs. I love the German reliability. I have an HK that I will shoot, next, and that's gonna be really fun as well. However, I do love these because, like I said, it has the extra safety. It does have the heavy trigger, so if you have little hands that somehow figure out a way to get to it, it's hard for them to pull. I heavily recommend getting a 45 ACP in some form for your collection, whether it is going out in the brush and handling maybe some smaller predators or something like that, or if you have to handle a 2-legged, predator that maybe breaks in your house or something like that. Heavily recommend that, and I think we're going to move on to the next one, which you're going to like. All right, so that was the nightstand home defense weapon. Middle of the night, whatever it is. Okay, I can grab that under my fingerprint safe, obviously. However, I think it's time that we step up to the wish a motherfucker would personal home defense weapon. This is used to be the jewel of my collection. Now you'll see at the end of this video the new jewel. However, Heckler & Koch HK SP5. This is a semi-automatic version of an MP5, which was obviously made extremely popular in basically any and every action movie, especially Die Hard. I personally love this firearm. It does come, or I shouldn't say it doesn't come, I put an AMG UH-1 Vortex sight on there, so I do have my hollow red dot, and it does have the perfect safeties. I have the light on there. So yeah, this, like I said, this is the wish a motherfucker would personal home defense weapon. God forbid somebody breaks into my house while I'm in my office or something, and this is in my safe. Just saying, bad idea. So yeah, let's shoot it. We Gotta turn that boy up a little bit. There we go. Okay, you want to tighten your shoulder.
High.
A little bit.
God damn. Still high?
Now you're a little left.
Okay.
There, now we're getting better. Let it rain! You're a little low. You're low. There you go. All right, so you just saw some fun that I can have with an SP5, 30 round capabilities. So when I say it is the wish a motherfucker would personal home defense weapon, I'm not lying, because you can usually get as many rounds of 9mm in one magazine from a PCC that most people need to reload, you know, at least once or twice before if they break into your house and they want to find out. So that's the ultimate FAFO weapon. When it comes to like a 9mm or something like that, I could probably recommend any other, you know, manufacturer, or like Kuna's or something like that. There's plenty of other options, but like I said earlier with my handguns, I prefer reliability. I prefer they throw an elephant shit and it'll still work kind of mentality. That's the kind of stuff I buy with my guns. But what happens? You know, we'll say the bombs start dropping or something like that, and I need to be in a tactical situation. What are we going to do then? Well, that's what we put on this little guy. An Omega 9K suppressor. So let's see how this sounds compared to what it was before. All right, so what we're about to do here is attach our Omega 9K from Silencer Co. Suppressor. We do have the tri-lug mount. If you do have some kind of a PCC or we'll say SMG, cousin, heavily recommend getting the tri-lug mount if this is going to be your suppressor, because it is not direct thread. It literally just goes on and twists, easy on, easy off. You don't need any Loctite or anything like that. Never recommend putting Loctite on with the suppressor, because then you actually have to use some heat to remove it if it if you need to like readjust it or something like that. So let's put it on and see how it goes. And we're good to go. All right. We'll see the difference. Let it rip.
Oh shit! I don't even feel like it's.
I know.
Am I hitting anything? No.
You're left.
Still left?
Yes. Shane, I was like this.
Huh?
I was like this.
You were like that?
Yeah. I took my ear protection off to see how quiet it was.
It was quiet?
Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, that was significantly quieter. And I will say, the Federal ammunition 1000% jammed less than the Winchesters. So If you are running an SP5 suppressed or any 9mm suppressed, I guess I would recommend going for the 147 grain Federal 9mm ammo because, like I said, the Winchester Subsonics, last time I was out here, it kept jamming like every 4 to 5. Excuse me, 4 to 5 rounds. So 100% recommend the Federal, and yeah, go from there. We are going to move on to the big boys. Like I said, I do have a new crown jewel of the collection. That will be the last one that we see, so keep watching, and we'll go from there. All right, wind has kicked up a little bit, as you can see by my whipping shirt. Holy criminy. But we are moving on to the long barrels, the big boys. We are starting off with my AR-15, a 6-hour M4 Tread B2 with another UH-1 on a different sight, just like my SP5. But I also have a 3X mag on here for this long range shots. So let's have some fun. I got some 223 I'm start with, and some 5.56, and yeah, here we go. All right, so the wind has picked up significantly. I mean, we're in North Dakota, so obviously it's going to effing do that. But next, after my AR, is my hunting rifle. This is my 6.5 Creedmoor, specifically my Sig Sauer Sawtooth, chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor with a Tango DMR scope on it and an Omega 300 DT suppressor. So we're going to have a bunch of fun with this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's do it. Also, this has a 24-inch barrel, carbon fiber, and a bipod. So this is going to be a lot of fun. All right, last one of the day. When I said I had a surprise, I have a surprise. Sometimes you need something a little bit more bold. An Italian classic, some would say. You see that TTI right there? Yes. This is the Benelli M4, the Taran Tactical Innovations version from John Wick 2. This is so much fun. That's so much fun. Round two. I could shoot that all day. All right, heading home. That was a really fun range day. I think it took me about 3.5 hours once the rain stopped. So yeah, I mean, we did the carries, we did the fun comp guns, and then we did the home defense weapons, and then we went into the long barrel big boys. I mean, let me know what your favorite was in the comments below. Personally, that TTI M4 is a behemoth, and I can't wait to shoot it more, honestly. And the Creedmoor, like that was the Creedmoor with the suppressor on there, is such a satisfying shot to hit. It's insane. And that 24-inch barrel, we were zeroed in. So 100% recommend getting anything close to what I was showing off today. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And if you like it, like I said, like, subscribe, leave comments about what you want me to shoot, whether it's a gun, a caliber, or if you just want to see me start shooting some really weird stuff to see what my guns can go through. You know, there are other channels that do that, and I'm down to kind of do it. So let me know. All right, deuces.